When you're choosing your IT managed services and private cloud solutions provider, there's little debate that experience and customer service are two key components for you to consider. But in today's digital transformation of the global economy, well, you need more. You need technical consultants that have extensive experience in reviewing and developing system standards and procedures. An absolute must, you need one that provides a full IT review to help determine tailored solutions just for your organization. Greetings, everyone, and welcome from the Technology Association of Georgia. It's Tuesday, July 19th, 2016, and this is Tech Talk. I'm your host, Frank Baia. In this edition of Tech Talk, it turns the tables and asks you the question, what if your IT isn't working? Experts say if it's not improving the quality and consistency of your operation or offering effective digital marketing advantages, well, simply put, you're not getting your money's worth. Or worse, you're losing opportunities to your competition every day, day after day. Up to the Tech Talk, Eric Sharpe, Director of Marketing for Halski Systems, one of Georgia's fastest-growing IT services and private cloud companies, delivering full-service IT solutions to large and medium-sized businesses. Eric moved to Savannah, Georgia in 2003 and graduated 4 years later from the Savannah College of Art and Design. With knowledge of business and technology, he started his first company in Savannah called Digital Doc. 8 years later, his company was acquired by Halski Systems and now serves customers from Florida to New York to California and provides data center presence in multiple states. Recently, Eric became an integral part in building STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math education in Georgia, working closely with nonprofits and larger corporations like Gulfstream and the Urban STEM Academy. Fact is, in the past 3 years, technology has changed the landscape, converging marketing and technology as never before. Today's Tech Talk takes on IT managed services and asks, is your IT working for you? Is it delivering results you can measure in quality improvement, consistent operations, effective digital marketing? If not, how do you find the right IT service with solutions tailored to your business goals that, well, works? For the answer, we speak with Halski Systems' top marketing executive and industry thought leader, Eric Sharpe. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Eric, welcome to Tech Talk.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.
The dynamics of the marketplace, we talk about dysfunction all the time. You know, one of the things here on Tech Talk, we go into not only the verticals like fintech or health IT or internet security and on and on and on, but we also go into the horizontals, which get into the backup infrastructure and a lot of the things like cloud and stuff that's all Internet of Things. And so the hybriding of all of the situation that's happening between the amount of technology and the amount of disruption that technology is creating, in a positive sense, opportunity. Obviously, one of the places it's got to be hitting big and making a tremendous impact, challenge and an opportunity would be in marketing. Let's talk a little bit about that. Say for our listeners, in your particular niche over the last 3 years, what technology has changed and how has it changed the landscape for, say, marketing tech companies?
Sure, that's a great question. In the last 3 years, Frank, everyone has known that social media has been the big thing, but really I think the biggest thing is influencers starting to change the game for marketing and our business. It's not so much that we are writing blog articles and publishing them out on our own business websites, but we're actually looking to other influencers out there who can help promote products and services and really funnel people into the net, so to speak, for a business. So that's, frankly, looking at influencers, this sort of like temporary newscasting that you see on things like Facebook and Periscope. I mean, these things have tremendously changed the landscape for marketing at live events and across the globe, really.
Under those circumstances, is SEO still valuable to a business?
Well, absolutely. And in fact, really this is all laying the foundational layer for SEO. everything from video with captions on there to blog articles that include, dynamic pictures and video content. It's all very important for search engines, and that really is the key. And then when it comes down to it, when we're looking to do business with someone and we're looking to expand into an area, you're going to pop open a search bar and you're going to try to find more information, and that all comes down to the SEO.
But on the other side, if your business is mostly referrals, does it really, how aggressive can you be, say, for example, in an electronic environment than you would be necessarily in a real world where you work off of client contacts and the success that you've already enjoyed? And if you have these referrals, can you really build off that success?
Absolutely. Referrals are great, especially if you're a small business. I think that's how your business will grow tremendously in the beginning. But as business starts to pick up and as you start to hire salespeople, referrals are important, but you want to build on these really good case studies. People are looking to see how your business has solved a problem, and they don't want to just hear about a hypothetical. They want to see it. They want to know that, you walked into a business that had a major issue with security breach, and, your company was able to solve all their problems within a short order of time, because they're looking to either prevent that from happening, or they're already in the weeds and they need someone who can do it quickly. And showing that off, those testimonials are a huge thing in sales.
Well, Eric, you mentioned earlier, I just kind of quickly glanced over a marketing funnel. Tell our listeners, what is a marketing funnel? Yeah,
so a marketing funnel is, more or less a funnel that you can pull out from your kitchen at home. You start with something very big. So you start with either a group of people on the World Wide Web who've never really heard of you, and what you're trying to do is get people who are interested in your products or services and drive them into learning more about your company, and then you turn them into people who have a phone call with you. You turn them into one phone call, into another, into a meeting, and into an eventual sale. So the whole point of a funnel is to create the steps involved, the marketing steps involved, taking someone from not knowing anything about your company all the way down to the point where there's a sale and you have a great relationship with a new client.
Okay, so there's a lot of aspects to it, a lot of layers and a lot of tentacles, and each one of those, in some cases, you can get a lot of information and support. Some people kind of know what they're doing. Some people just don't have a clue. I'm guessing that if you're really going to take this on and be successful, should you hire a social media manager?
That's a great question. Sometimes it comes down to the size of your business. What I think it comes down to is the amount of content that you're pushing out. If your business is not pushing out a lot of content, you may want to just maybe start out with an intern who can begin to create content for your business. And then once you have content generation starting, that's when you can look towards a social media manager who can create a consistent message online that will drive your different sales promotions or your different services, especially if you do live events. If you're doing a lot of live events, you definitely want to think about hiring a community, someone who can manage your social media in the community. Yeah.
Can you do it through 100% social media? And I guess you could even adapt your PR and your advertising message in a social media environment. But balance that out for us. How much should we do in terms of PR and say more advertising to drive business as it relates to leveraging the referrals and aggressively posting, I'm guessing, relative content to ideally a target audience that's sourcing that information?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm a little bit more old school when it comes to doing advertising. I think that you should really be thinking about inbound marketing. And to me, you want to talk up your company and what it does and what it stands for, and that's really on the PR side. And I think you should be doing, anywhere from 80 to 90% You should let people know, what is it like to do business with your company on the softer side of things. Doing a hard sale, getting these email blasts day in and day out about the offerings your company has is not always the best thing to do. So I'm huge about doing PR. Tell people about the different events that you go to, or the different nonprofits you are affiliated with. And that's really where the social media manager will come into play, is touting these things. But you also need to balance it out with attending live events, going to these business networking opportunities, and just showing up. That's really half the battle, Frank, is just showing up and being there and supporting your community as a business, whether you're a worldwide organization or, just a mom and pop that has a local or regional impact.
I think new business development is as you're talking, the opportunities are literally unlimited, but on the other side, it can be incredibly difficult, a real challenge. And where I'm headed in now is that we would say in the day, if you can't buy a market, you have to earn it. Let's say I'm a startup. Is there really something that a startup can do to market their company successfully, in terms of limited, say, budget and absolutely no brand recognition?
Sure. I think this is one of the most fun opportunities, at least for me as a marketer, is coming up with different guerrilla marketing tactics. And what I mean by guerrilla marketing tactics is finding a way to advertise your product or service in a non-traditional way. And I'll give you an example. My one example is from a larger company, unfortunately, that did this, but they use like sidewalk chalk to direct people to New York Fashion Week. Just something real simple like that can make a huge impact. And, it's very low budget. It's unexpected, using sidewalk chalk art, things like that. If you're in the app business, you got to think of a way that completely separates you. Everyone out there is zigging one way, and you've got to find a way to zag the other way so that you stand out. And you can definitely do that as a startup.
I'm guessing without question you're saying that to a degree the efficiency is kind of obvious, but I almost kind of have to ask the question for a lot of our listeners that are posed with the challenge, and that is, when you're talking about digital advertising, is it really superior, say, to print advertising?
Well, one of my favorite things about digital advertising is the fact that you can measure everything. You really know that your dollars are going to work, down to the point where you can almost tell exactly how much it costs, cent for cent, to obtain a new client, or to get that app download, or to bring someone in the door of your retail store. Print advertising, I think one of the reasons why it's gone out of favor is because if you print something and you want to change your message within the next 2 weeks or 2 months, your print material is sitting out there and it's old and it's stagnant. You've got to go collect it all, or you've got to get rid of it somehow. And that's why print is just not keeping up with the day-to-day, the rolling tides of the internet. There's plenty of opportunity out there on the digital media spectrum to change your message as quickly as possible. Arby's had a great example of that when they had kind of a Twitter battle, makeshift. It wasn't a Twitter battle; it was just poking fun at an artist's hat that was worn during an award show, and they said, "Hey, give us our hat back," because they were wearing a very similar hat to their logo. And, this sparked it was free. This was a free thing, and It sparked, millions and millions of people were laughing about it and kind of poke and jest about it. And it's, there's just the ability to dodge and weave in digital media is present, whereas in print it's very difficult. And you can still do it, but you've got to plan it out better. You've got to really plan it based on a live event that you know is going to happen, where you can get your printed material in there and sneak it in and get it under the radar, but really make a high impact.
Now, you mentioned about tracking. Let's talk a little bit about specifics and say what tools would you use to track, say, digital marketing?
Sure. The basics out there are Google Analytics. That's huge, using analytics and webmaster tools. If you don't have that installed, you should really get it done yesterday, really. There's other great tracking tools to check out your website and how people are using it. I've always been a huge proponent on it's great that you've got a website, but let's see how people are using it, how they're interacting with it. Should all the buttons be on the right side? What happens if you throw them on the left side of the site? What happens if you change the size or the color? And you can track people doing that. And one of my favorite tools for that is called InspectLit. And you can download it. It's a free trial on the internet. There's plenty of other ones out there like Crazy Egg. They'll let you inspect, the heat maps and everything, and find out where people are clicking. And I'll give you an example. If you've got a picture on your site that doesn't link to something, you actually may find out that a lot of people are clicking on it, expecting it to go somewhere. And you can't find that out with the data that's provided in something like a Google Analytics. You can follow the path that people take on your website through the data, but you can't visually see what they're clicking on and what they expect your website to act, or how it's going to act for them. And that's where you really need to start tracking these heat maps and click maps. So yeah, InspectLit, Crazy Egg are two of my favorite ones.
Now, obviously, we're right in the era of the app-driven economy, and I mentioned earlier about Internet of Things, and certainly analytics and all of the data that's been going on, predictive and prescriptive, and even moving into, I think, artificial intelligence. Content's still king. I mean, when you're talking digital marketing, can you really create a burr of singularity that differentiates you in the midst of all this automation?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but you've got to be creative with it. There's so many, these larger companies have, a large force behind them in terms of, their marketing and what they're trying to do. But you've got to stick to your guns when you get out there and demonstrate how you're different, or how your product or service can move better in the industry. And I think the most important thing to realize is, what you're doing is not for everyone. Not everyone is out there to buy what you've got. Even if you're a Coca-Cola, you're not necessarily going after 100% of the people in the world. There are markets out there that don't drink Coca-Cola, and they're not going to waste their time marketing towards them because, they don't drink soft drinks, or, they're just not into that. So that's the most important advice I would give is, you don't need to prove your product or service to everyone, just a specific group of people, these ravenous fans that are behind what you have to offer. Stick to them first and then build it from there.
Well, there's nothing like proof of concept, and a lot of things that obviously you guys are doing are right on, and you're learning with each progressive success. I do think that there's a certain level of feedback that happens, especially with the automation we were talking and some of the tracking. But equally so, it becomes, I think, intuitive. And I think hearing you talk, Eric, it's a passion, and you get an understanding for this thing because it's something that you do, but you do it because you enjoy doing it and you do it well. I guess where I'm headed is that a lot of dynamics to talk about. We've covered some today. Probably going to have you back in a few months and maybe check back in because with all the dynamic changes that are going on and the influences that are happening from new technologies, it's kind of waiting to see what's going to be next, kind of a thing. But as far as today, Eric, thank you for taking a few minutes out of what I know is a really busy schedule to join us for a few minutes today on Tech Talk.
Absolutely, Frank. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And if you all would like to take a little bit of your time and check out our website, you can go to halski.com, HALSKI.com, and learn more about me and my company. So thanks so much.